Gonna fry up some jams now. Gonna let it simmer in the oven. On top of the oven for a little while. Let it set and let it jam. Indeed, man. It just this song is it's just fun. It's still fun to listen to. The pop stations wouldn't play this record. It was too urban. And I'm putting it diplomatically. But listening to this song, and it sounded, it was pretty heavy for its time. It was a little heavy for its time for pop radio. But 30 years later, or 35 years later, listening to this record, it's tamed by today's standards. It's almost bubblegum, bordering on bubblegum by today's standards. But boy, talk about some great funk. We want the funk. Remember that? Yes, indeed. Think about the funk, Bootsy Collins, Parliament, James Brown, and you got, well, we got the Barcades Freakshow, baby, on the dance floor at number 28, up from 32 on my fantasy playlist, June the 4th, 1984. Boy, the Barcades. When I think of the Barcades, I think of this song, but I go back to 1967, summer, fall of 67, when they did Soul Finger. They actually used some children from some of the neighborhoods, I think, in Memphis. They were on the Stax Fault label. And they were trained. They were getting trained to be a backup band, a backup studio band, to spell for Booker T and the MGs. And but Otis Redding, boy, he was. I got to have these guys. They were Otis Redding's back in band, back in the summer of '67, around the summer of '67, and then oh boy, oh my goodness, there was the plane crash. The famous plane crash in 1967, December 10th, 1967. It was four members of the Barcades, 4 or 5 members of the Barcades. Otis Redding was on that plane, crashed into a frozen lake. Boy, what a dreadful way to go. Only one member of the Barcades survived. And the bass player of the Barcades, James Alexander, he was not on the flight. That was very fortunate, because after the crash, after all was said and done on that, the surviving member of the Barcades, the guy who survived the plane crash, Ban Colley, along with James Alexander, the bass player, they reformed. They formed a new Barcades, and they did some studio work for Stax Fault record label in Memphis, Tennessee, the famous Stax label. Boy, you know, I'm thinking about 1967, 68, man. Got some of those jams back then. Shake a Tail Feather by James and Bobby Purify, Soul Finger, and Tighten Up by Archie Bell and the Drells. Can't Stop Dancing by Archie Bell and the Drells. Love that song back in 68. And well, there's others. It's All Right by J.J. Jackson. Oh, Boogaloo Down Broadway by fantastic Johnny C. Yes, indeed. 1967, baby. But the group underwent some changes, personnel changes over the years. James Alexander won the constants in that band, and some of the songs they did over the years, Son of Shaft. As a matter of fact, the band backed up Isaac Hayes on his incredible, one of these iconic soul albums, Hot Buttered Soul. They backed Isaac Hayes on that album, and they did Son of Shaft, 1971, 1972. Boy, that was real funky right there. A little bit of Sly and the Family Stone in that record, and they did Oh Shake Your Rump to the Funk. Remember that, 1976. And there was Too Hot to Stop. Too Hot to Stop, it was the one, they sounded a lot like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Shining Star on that record had that great, they had that amazing saxophone, or the band, the trumpet section on that record, and Boogie Bodyland in 1980. And She Talks to Me with Her Body. What you want, boy? I got it. Remember that? 1983, and then Freakshow on the Dance Floor. Forgot to write down the name of the album that came off of it. It was Dangerous. It was from the movie Breaking'. Indeed, it was Breaking'. and checked out the soundtrack to that movie. And by the way, the movie Breaking was really big. Ultimately, it did over $38 million in the box office. And some of the songs on that album, on the soundtrack, Cut It by Reflex. Reflex was on that album. You might remember Reflex doing The Politics of Dancing back in late 83, early 84. Ain't Nobody by Rufus and Shaka Khan. That was also a fall of 83, early 84. Ice-T had a rap. Remember Ice-T? He was kind of a groundbreaking rapper back in the day. Remember the tune Colors by Ice-T back in 1988. Man, that dude was bad back in the day. This was kind of like gangster rap before Dr. Dre and Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg. 1988, Ice-T rather doing Colors. Man. MTV played the heck out of that video. But he had a song he had a rap on that soundtrack on a song called Reckless, Ice-T. But let's get back to the barcade. Freakshow on the dance floor. You know, it's a lot of fun, a lot of funk, and I miss the funk. Although Bruno Mars, he's brought it back a little bit, but you know, it was a hip thing back in the day. And Freakshow on the dance floor did not do well on Billboard's Hot 100. No surprise there, as the pop stations just would not play it. But kind of based on No Parking on the Dance Floor. Remember that one by Midnight Star? No Parking on the Dance Floor. Those fun funk tunes. We need to bring those tunes back. Songs like that back. Have a little fun. Nothing like a little fun. A little fun in the sun. Just bouncing around with the huge beach ball. All right, Barcades with Freakshow on the dance floor at number 28 on my fancy playlist of June 4th, 1984.